Hello, I'm Paul Thompson,
And I'm Paul Stevens.
and we are two
2Pauls
Pauls in a pod. That was smooth.
You gotta knock it out on the first try. That's what it is.
Right. So, we are coming today, and we'll be coming out, weekly.
So weekly.
We'll be coming out weekly to bring to you things about Savannah, Georgia. This is our hometown, so we're going to talk about the growth of Savannah, Georgia, and some of the good and the bad about that.
But we're gonna focus on the good because the news focuses on the bad.
Right. And then we also going to come to you and bring to you some financial information. So first off, me, Paul Thompson, am not a financial advisor. I'm not like to give any financial information. Do your own. My motto is do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
So but I've been studying finance and learning how to create different streams of income since probably about the age of 20. And it's been a journey. So I'm enjoying the process and going to share some things I learned on my journey.
And then I, Paul Stevens, because we gotta make that distinction.
Right.
I'm a financial planner by trade, but however, anything that I share is not financial advice. Make sure you reach out to a CPA or a financial professional before you take any advice that we do or say. And then also, as he said, do your own research.
Absolutely. I am a Savannah native. I am 41 years old at this current moment. I wasn't taught a lot of financial advice from my family. Also, with growing up in Savannah, there's this big thing about, ever since if you was born in the 80s and the 90s, you heard that Savannah was a bunch of crabs in a basket. I've seen it, I've heard it, but I've noticed some things here lately over the last few years that are very inspiring. And everybody needs to learn about finance. I feel like that it has been a very, very long journey for me, which I'm now, continue to see great benefits from my journey. So I am from the east side of Savannah. I was raised off of Waters Avenue and 36th Street. So if the people around there are listening or tap in, they definitely know where I'm from. Most of them still remember me to this day. I just feel like I just need to bring some positivity and light to a lot of situations that's going on and help people get more educated about their finances. So also part of my financial journey, which got me really, really heavy into finance itself and talking about currency, was I started learning about cryptocurrencies actually. And then I started learning how to trade currencies, monthly pay subscription, to learn about trading different currencies like the euro against the dollar, the Canadian dollar against the yen, which is, what's that, China, or Japan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Japanese. So, I've learned how to trade different currencies around the world. And in the process of that, you have to understand worldwide news when it comes to finances. So over these last 4 or 5 years, it's been a lot of things going on in the financial world. And, we've seen especially after COVID-19, and there's a lot of movement going on that I've learned and just want to share with y'all when we're talking about finance. I also am involved with a couple of nonprofits in Savannah, Georgia, and see how Savannah is, like I said earlier, growing at a rapid pace. And I just want the citizens of Savannah to know that, it's time to now start standing up, showing up. I know we've been doing a lot of complaining, but now it's time to, use another muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Get out there and advocate for our city.
Yes, because the truth is, yes, the city council and the city alderpeople and the county, they do have a lot of power and control, but the people who have the most control is us. But we have to start showing up. I know, and we're gonna talk about a lot of these things later on, but we do have to start showing up. We can't just continue to complain about the things that's going on or about how not being involved. We have to make ourselves involved.
Right, because black people specifically, right, since that's the majority of Savannah, has the most buying power in Savannah. We spend more money in Savannah than most others do in a non-business sense, if that makes sense. Because we buy houses, we buy cars, we buy clothes, we buy most fast food.
Right.
Like, we spend a lot of money, and so if we were to withhold what we spend and how we spend, man, this city would have to listen to what we got to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we don't even have to go way back to slavery to show that we have a lot of history and are a big part in this city. So it's time for the renaissance of black business and black community to come back to Savannah, because if we don't do it now, there are some people who are establishing that, and let me not go as far or try to lead on to say that there are not people in Savannah working to bring black renaissance or establishing better black communities. But if we don't do this now, if we don't start getting on the same page with everybody now, then it's going to be very hard for us in the future when we're being pushed out.
Which is, the pushing out has already started.
Yes.
A large majority of people living on the east side when I was a kid now live out in Richmond Hill.
Pooler, Port Wentworth,
Statesboro,
Rankin, Guyton.
Right, out of the way.
And then coming back to Savannah to work.
Which makes no sense. Now you're paying more for gas when you want to save a little bit on housing, when you could just pay them more on housing and save on gas.
Right.
So, I've noticed that there's not many black doctors here lately. That is relatively concerning. Like, especially since, education system is forced upon us because you can't opt out of school, especially not in a poor neighborhood.
Right.
So how is it that we are doing everything else but being doctors?
And, I do know some people who have, are from Savannah, born and raised, have reached great heights in their life in education and have become medical doctors, yet they live other places. And listen, you gotta take care of your family, you gotta do what's right for you. I'm not knocking nobody, I'm proud of y'all, those who made it out and were able to achieve those great things, but we do need, that service back here, which brings me to another point, is pay.
It's one of those topics.
And we probably gonna talk about this one for a while, y'all.
And we're gonna jump back on it pretty much every time we involve money. Pay is gonna come with it.
Yes, because I can remember working at the movie theater on Eisenhower many moons ago, and
before they closed it the second time, and then reopened the third time, and then closed it again, and now it's back open.
Right.
Man.
So actually, right before they built the two out there behind the Regal and the Carmichael behind the Savannah Mall, because I remember cleaning those out. I had a cousin that had a business, and thankfully he chose. Well, I had a cousin who married a guy from New York, actually, created a business, cleaning service, and he actually chose her family, me, I'm a cousin, and her brother, one of my brothers, and her other siblings to be employees in his business, and he pays pretty well. We found a lot of stuff too, so it's all panned out. But anyway, I remember working at the Eisenhower Cinemas on Waters and getting paid, say what, $6, $5, $5.15, I think it was maybe. And then, I've worked as a lifeguard too. I was doing pretty decent there. I think I was making like $8.25 then. And I was a lifeguard. It was a summer job, and like with the way that the growth of Savannah is going, there has to be a review on the living wages. I will say this over and over again, and some of the people close to me have heard me say this, and Savannah's becoming like a small Hollywood or I'm not gonna say Hollywood. Well, I say a small Hollywood. We're becoming a place like California. We're becoming a place like New York. We're becoming a place like Atlanta, especially like Atlanta, Charlotte, Charleston. Housing prices are going sky high. Yet the pay isn't going. That meter isn't moving anywhere.
Right.
So that's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I don't know if it's the city or state or county that needs to look at that, but that's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
Well, I'll argue on the other side, and I don't agree with it, but a lot of people are going to say, well, the whole reason for minimum wage ain't for somebody to survive on. Now, back when minimum wage was first started, the whole goal was if you worked a 40-hour week, minimum wage should have been able to pay all your bills. Now the whole thing is, can a small business afford to operate and pay minimum wage? So the federal government argues that a small business would not be able to afford to continue running if they were to increase minimum wage. That's why they refuse to do it. Now granted, minimum wage is just a recommendation to the states on how low they can pay. So the states like California, New York, most of Texas will not allow you to pay less than $12 on average. But now places like here, North Carolina, Florida, South Carolina, they pay $7.50, $7.75, and there's no way people can live on that. You'd have to have 2-3 jobs just to pay your basic bills, and if you want to save a little, you got to do something on the side.
Right. And or try to create a business or something.
But hopefully a legal business.
Right. You don't need no more of that. We need to be. That's one of the strongholds I will say of Savannah is we get us as Black people are the ones who get not just yes we are doing it, but we also get the most time, the hardest restraints, and then if you just so happen to be lucky enough to be on probation or parole, I mean, it's just not a great situation. And being incarcerated is like, being away from your family, your kids, mom, dad, people passing away, people growing up on you, missed opportunities. We got to look at better ways to make money. And there's so many ways in Savannah right now, like to things that you can do. There's so many different businesses you can create right now.
And then a lot of people will be like, oh, well, why ain't they this here? Why ain't they that here? And it's like,
opportunity.
Right. If your mind says that there should be something here and you have the means to do that, then that's what you should do. Like the same way my business came about. A lot of people say, man, when I was working at my other company, I want to work with you, but I don't have investments. I got debt. And a lot of financial planners will not work with me because I have debt. And so it's like, oh, hint, hint. Well, to me, it's like, okay, I need to start my business and work with people who have businesses but still have debt. Now I help you work up to that point where your debt's finally paid off. Now we can value how much your business is worth. Now we can take loans against your business so you can go do side money, buy more assets. Now, once we've done that, now we can start investing in the stock market. Now that we have
too much.
I'm one of those people. Once I get on that roll, it's like, all right, we're gonna give you one of these days.
Right now.
Yeah, one of these days,
we're gonna dive into that.
Gonna be diving straight into that.
Yes, because that's one of the things that we feel like is really, really, really important. And I'm not saying too much because I feel like you're giving too much right now. But
it's the first episode, and
there's a growing process. When I first, like I said, when I first got into finance, I was just looking at trading, and it forced me to start looking at the financial market, and that forced me to look at how I deal with money and things like that. So it was definitely a growing process for me. You know what I'm saying? As brother says, for him, he wasn't really good with money neither.
Nope. I made every bad decision you can, and sometimes I still do. And I'm trained. I got a degree in finance. I still make bad decisions.
Right.
So people who don't know no better, because generationally we don't talk about finances as a people, especially not with our families and especially not with strangers. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get into Black households and talk about money. Because you want your children or your family to think, well, I ain't struggling, I ain't got no problems. Like, don't worry about me, worry about what you got going on over there.
Right.
I'm 28, born in 1994 on 34th and Harmon Street. But since nobody knows what Harmon Street is for some reason, I say I'm on 34th and Waters.
No, we know what Harmon Street.
A lot of people don't. I be like, off Harmon Street. What that mean? I was like, you from Savannah?
So you was right behind Hudson's.
Yep. 34th and Harmon Street. So, graduated from Savannah High, went to the Navy, because, you know, there's a saying, which a lot of older people say, you born in Savannah, you live in Savannah, you die in Savannah.
Right.
And it's like, my whole goal was, I was not going to do that. I was going to escape. I wasn't never coming back. And then, surprise, surprise, here I am, I'm back. But, learned about finances in the Navy because I made every mistake you can make. Bought a car from a buy here, pay here, ran credit card debt up, wild. I was like, oh, well, you know, I still feel the same way, but credit score is just a number. Don't nobody care what my credit score is. You can buy a house without using credit. Well, it is a lot harder than you think to do that if you don't know nobody.
Right.
So another main, like, backing behind this podcast is going to be introducing people in the community that you need to network with.
Yes.
But learned through them, because the Navy was like, okay, dummy, since you want to play around with your money, we're going to send you to school. So I went to school because irony is a thing. They made me the command financial specialist for Kings Bay.
Wow.
And I was the worst person with money that was there. So, go to a 2-week school, they teach you how to budget, how to make sure that your credit score is in order, how to fix your credit if it's bad, stuff like that. But unfortunately, 2-week school ain't gonna teach you everything you need to know.
Right.
But it's enough that you fall in love with the industry once you start it. So, got out of the military, was like, okay, well, I wanna find a finance job. They're like, oh, well, dummy, you ain't got no degree in finance, so try again. Had to go to Texas to work in the oil field because that's the only job I could get. I was a submarine nuke mechanic. So made a whole bunch of money, but I was like, that's not where my passion lies. And so every time something would happen in the oil field, like, I'm gonna go get my degree, I'm leaving this. So had the great idea, well, instead of leaving and getting my degree, why don't I do my degree while I'm working? Got my degree in finance from Purdue while working 7 on, 7 off in the oil field.
Wow.
So it was a very interesting process. But got a degree from Purdue with financial planning as my major. Got an internship through BLX. Shout out to them, because without them, I wouldn't even found out about the finance industry in the financial planning space. They got me an internship with a company called Brownlee Wealth Management out in Texas. They work with oil field executives, so surprise, surprise, I worked in the oil field. I can talk with oil field people. So that gave me my first year experience.
And big money too.
Right, and big money. Got my first year experience there. My second year's experience, came back home. My granddad had a stroke and died, so had to come home and support family. But, so now I have my own firm, and I work with small businesses that don't have investments, because that's how you're going to grow wealth. If you can't afford to buy stocks, you need to build a business and then sell your business.
Tip.
I mean,
oh yeah, so this is Paul the Advisor on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep. So every day, or not every day, because I'm very inconsistent, and I know that, I'm working on it, but at least every 3 days, I post something involving like starting your business, how to be more consistent with your business, how to save money with your business, because ultimately a lot of people build businesses, but they don't know what it is to be an entrepreneur. Because being an entrepreneur and having a business is 2 separate things.
Right.
An entrepreneur is a person that wants to grow their business to support not only themselves but others.
Right.
A business owner is just a person who owns a business.
So, I'm happy that you said that. So we'll start this segment, and I don't want to interrupt your introduction.
No, my
that's kind of like a
now.
perfect segue into, a lot of things we'll talk about. So this segment, we're gonna call it Savannah is Changing.
And it is changing.
And it is changing. Just like I mentioned that, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, you've heard that Savannah had this crab in the basket mentality for especially the black community. Somebody come up, everybody else trying to pull them down. We not supporting each other or things like that. But there are, yes, and that's still part of the people in Savannah, but that narrative is changing. That characteristic, especially out of the young black entrepreneurs, changing. You got shout out to people like No Cap TV, I Support Savannah, who are creating platforms to give the Black entrepreneurs and businessmen and women so they can have a place to advertise and be known, especially in the city of Savannah. And the thing is, we have to start supporting ourselves. I recently took a trip to a very gentrified area in Savannah, and I was invited there, so I was trying to enjoy myself.
I was going to tell you to call out the area since you got invited. I want to step on your toes.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, we'll probably talk about it in another segment because I do want to be in depth and do want to let people know, especially our community, what's going on and how I see things. So I was invited to this area. Most people gonna know it anyway. I was invited to this area in Savannah, off of Bull Street. Let me say it like that. I won't say the name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And it was a very, 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 very nice area. Good entertainment. The setups were nice. The businesses around it was nice. The only thing that got to me was the lack of Black entrepreneurs in those businesses, because that same area used to be Black-owned properties.
And a lot of the properties that are still Black-owned in that specific area, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
It's either dilapidated or the Union Mission isn't taking care of their spot on the corner.
Right.
Which I'm not calling them out because they do a great job, the service for the community, especially the homeless community. So shout out to Union Mission, obviously. But we got to work on some of the loitering that happens around that area as well. Because a lot of gentrification happens because property ain't kept up properly.
Right.
We not keeping our own in check to make sure what we're doing is right for our area.
Absolutely. And then, we also have, so most of these businesses, I must say, are in houses that surround that area. One of the big things I do want to say to our people, especially those in Savannah, is that Savannah is valuable. We have to stop thinking that Savannah is slow Savannah. It's none of that. Savannah is a big money town. We got Georgia ports. Obviously, we got a lot of tourist attraction year round, especially with St. Patrick's Day. We got, SCAD, who brings in and does indie movie shows and we know that a lot of movies are being made right here in Savannah. Matter of fact, just the other night, I caught the last 15 minutes of SpongeBob and couldn't help but say, that's Broughton Street. That's Tybee Island. That's the pier. I fished off of there. I walked down Broughton Street, several times in my lifetime. And a lot of stores on Broughton Street were Black owned. Look at them now. But we got to do a better job at, looking at what we have as valuable. If somebody wants to come to you and buy your property, buy your store, trust me.
There's a reason why they want it.
Yes.
There's a reason why they want it.
If they willing to offer you cash, and I know that a lot of people are not I'm not gonna say a lot of people. I know some people are not in a good financial space and may want the money, but a lot of these people who come to invest in the neighborhoods, they're borrowing money to invest in your house. They have the cash because they looked at your house, assess how much it's going to cost them to fix it up, and then sell it, especially in this market.
Or rent it out.
Sell it especially in this market for $200,000 or more, or rent it out for over $2,000 a month.
It's I'll give you a scenario. So the house that my mother rented on 34th and Harmon, across the street from my grandparents' house. House was worth $175,000 when they bought it. They fixed it up. They can sell it for $310,000, but they rent it for $2,300 a month.
How many bedrooms? How many baths?
3 bedrooms, 1 bath.
3 bedrooms, 1 bath, in the area that used to be the hood. So
A lot of people, like when I was a kid, I had a friend in elementary school, and his parents were like, you can't go around there.
yeah, yeah.
So it's just like, it don't make no like how is the property in the hood right so bad?
Right.
But people want to invest there to buy, to rent out to people that ain't from it.
Right. Exactly. And then you see an influx of people that don't look like you, and then the next thing you know, what happens? They start building up their type of stores. They force you out of your neighborhood to even buy food, groceries, get gas, because I mean the price of things are going to consistently go up. Now, what we need to do, like I said, is see the value in what we have. There are several different ways to get what it would be an equity loan for your home.
Equity line of credit if you don't want to do a loan. Those are revolving.
Right.
So like a loan, you get the cash up front. Equity line of credit is more like a credit card. As you use it, you pay it off, you get to use that same amount.
And you can fix up your house. And now you don't have to take the low numbers they're giving you. Now, if you do sell your house at that point after you done fixed it up, now you can get a reasonable sum for your home and hopefully buy a better home to leave kids or family, or but we can make better choices, but we have to see the value. So we did mention about the equity loan and the equity line of credit. So those are two ways that we can save grandma house, granddad house, auntie, mama, daddy house, even cousin, because maybe cousin was good to the family, had a good business structure going on while him or her was alive, and accumulated some things.
Another issue we have is as a people, when one of ours pass on and it ain't written in their will who getting the house. Oh, well, I ain't getting the house, I ain't paying taxes on it. Now the city gets a hold of it for dirt cheap. It's not
it goes into probate.
Right. It's not reasonable for you to lose a house for $1,700.
Right. Or even 20 in back, because we have to, like I said, we have to start taking care of each other and building generational things that can be passed down.
Right, because they'll go right down to the courthouse on them steps every Tuesday and buy houses from the city. And whatever don't get bought gets put in the land bank. So.
Yeah. Yes. So we definitely have to start taking value in the things that we already have. Also, in that area off of Bull Street that we have been talking about, I've noticed that in one business, there's 2 to 4 different other businesses in there. They don't feel like if they have somebody else in their business structure that they're not going to survive. They bonding together, people, and they're advertising the products from their business constituents, partners, or friends as high quality. I seen a coffee cup for over $35. I don't care if it was handmade. I'm telling you right now. My budget don't consider that for me to be a good investment.
Right.
And if my budget did, I still would not pay $40 for a coffee cup. But that goes again to saying, we got to start valuing each other and each other's products.
Right, networking is 100% a thing. It's like you cannot, in this world, especially the way Savannah is right now, there's a large majority of people who are here now that are not from here. And a lot of them, what do? As soon as they show up, they start a new business, they go network.
Right.
There are a lot of people from here that do not network, and if they do, they don't network effectively. Facebook cannot be the only place that you market. Instagram cannot be the only place you market. You need to go speak to people in person.
Right.
Now, granted, that's what all the older heads will tell you anyway, and be like, well, I don't know about all that Facebook and Instagram, Instacart, whatever. They're gonna be like, talk to people. Now, granted, there's the internet too. I'm not just saying in person, but I'm also saying like, you got Google. Make sure that when you need ads, you do them. Your website If you have a business, you need a website. I don't care what no one says.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, well, I sell stuff on Facebook. Website. Because you cannot, what's the word? You cannot rank well on Google through Facebook. So if you have a business that sells clothing or you sell hair, hell, you're a beautician and you don't have a website, yeah, you have a Facebook, that's fine. People who know you can find you. But the whole point of Google is I want people who don't know me to find me. Because the people I know only got so much money to spend with me. I want people who don't know me to spend with me.
Right. And that's how we continue to grow our business. And another thing is, it doesn't take much to support a person's business. You don't always have to do it through finances. You can do it by passing the word, or like we said, networking. Not all things have to be in person, but I do believe in building, relationships with people. So maybe, invite them to an event that you're going to be a part of, or go to an event if you want to partner with somebody, build a relationship, go to something that they're doing. Because if we don't do this for ourselves, if we don't continue down the road of building our community and making it strong, not just through, talk and sharing, but through our finances, we're going to be trying to it's going to be hard to buy our way back into Savannah in a short time.
Right, because once we do get it back, then they won't wait till it gets towed up, because that's the usual thing. All the black people come in, they buy properties, they tear it up, then they come back, they buy it for cheap again, they fix it up, they sell it to us for expensive.
We definitely have to start developing the right mindset about our finances, even about ourselves. So is it safe to say that majority of the people are going to mess up on their finances no matter how much training they got?
Yeah, no matter how educated you are, you will still make a mistake somewhere.
Right.
Think about it like this. A doctor has all this training in medical history and anatomy, knowing how the body works. They still get sick.
Yeah. So I just want people to, I'm asking that because I want people to know and understand that even though you are still making mistakes with your finances, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? You can change it. Everything can be switched around. I just want you to have that, to start believing that, things can get better, that you will do better. It's just gonna take some time. Right. Some people longer than others.
The whole thing about fixing a problem is you gotta realize that there's a problem to be able to fix the problem.
Right.
If you believe, oh, well, I was born into this is what I gotta do, you'll never get no better.
True. I mean, I can attest to that because, there was a lot of things that I've learned about my family. Some good, some not so good. But most of it was, kind of in the not so good area. And I actually learned about my great grandfather and his father, who tried to establish some amazing things here in Savannah, Georgia. And that is what helped me spark, something inside of me to say, hey, you know what? If they tried to do that, I'm not saying I'm them. I don't want to do what they did, but if they had that in them, I got something like that in me. So that, so it made me search within myself to figure out what good parts that I had in me, what greatness I had in me. So definitely, I always advise people to, if you do have a lot of bad in the family, everybody does, you know what I'm saying? Try to focus on the good things. If we have some people that with some illegal businesses, you can take and say, well, they were entrepreneurs, they did think forward, they did try to invest, let me just try to do it the right way. So you will understand that, having money, the ability to gain money, that's in you. You just have to choose to do it the right way.
Right, because there's many things you can learn something from everybody.
Right.
People who do things illegally and make fast money, you can still, because that is still a hard job to do. You got to wake up every morning and be like, I'm going to do this. And that's the entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. I mean, I often try to encourage guys or people that are that are doing illegal business that, hey, listen, business is not much legal business is not much different than that. All you gotta do is change your product.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you got to record what you have.
right, yeah. Tax, you can't get hit with tax evasion. The IRS is watching.
Mm-hmm.
But if you set up your business structure right and you switch your product, like, and you are a illegal entrepreneur, I feel like a person can do great in the legal business world.
Yeah, because you know how to interact with people, which is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Is people be like, oh well, I built my business, now people gonna come. It's like that ain't how that works. Mm. Like you, right? Like it's like I built this building over here, and I want to do event planning. Now everyone sees my building. It says event planning.
But who are you?
Right. But it's like, what kind of events do? You do weddings? Because, a lot of people don't want to go to an event planning space for no wedding. You want to go to chapel, church or something.
Right.
So it's just like, you got to be able to explain what you do and what you got. And that's what most people that are in those situations can do, and very, very well.
Right.
And the fact that they can do it without getting caught also means that they're discreet. So, because a lot of times, like business, like you have to have your trade secrets too. Like, yes, being an entrepreneur means you're letting it all out there. You got to tell your story. People got to know who you are. They got to know what you do, but they don't need to know how you do it.
Right. And I want to give a shout out to OAA Savannah, Offender Alumni Savannah. They are a resource group for returning citizens. So anybody that's been incarcerated, just about to come home, or just recently came home, you can contact OAA Savannah, Brother Julius Campbell, and Marie. Obviously I'll put their name somewhere over here somewhere. It'd probably be on the table.
Or just put it in the show notes, that'll work too.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. But if you're in Savannah and you are recently coming home, or you just want to, you've been in trouble, you want to change, there are a resource and support group for ex-offenders, or they call them returning citizens.
Politically correct way to say it.
Returning citizens.
Also, it's like you call them someone an offender, right? Like it's like super offensive.
Right.
Like, and plus, not everyone did something like that would be considered an offense. Hey, you did something illegal, so what?
Yeah, because some might call some blue collar.
Right.
Some just wrote some checks, some did some other stuff. Oh, that's funny.
We do talk a lot about black people, but we don't, so I don't want to make it seem like only black people should watch this podcast.
Absolutely.
Like, anyone who lives in Savannah should definitely pay attention, tap in, or I don't know the political correct way to say it.
Tune in.
Tune in, there you go. You should definitely tune in, because if you get to understand like the viewpoint of someone else who ain't in the same situation as you, that kind of will teach you different ways on how you need to operate as well.
Absolutely.
Right, because some things that people say is exclusionary, and they don't know it's exclusionary.
Right. So would that be the political term of cultural appropriation?
I would say that's the opposite spectrum, because cultural appropriation means you got something I want, I'm taking it.
Gotcha.
If I said, like, pretty much like what I said earlier, right? It's like black people are messing up in Savannah. Well, I didn't say it like that, but figuratively. It's like, so now it's just like, okay, well, white people be like, oh, well, I'm good.
Right.
It's just like, no, like, if you're from Savannah, or, I'm not even necessarily saying from Savannah, but there are people who come here, buy stuff, and leave. Mm-hmm. I'm saying people that live in Savannah need to take care of Savannah. It's not just a black or white thing.
No, because the wage issue and the housing market does not just affect the black community; it affects all of Savannah. If I'm not mistaken, the last time I looked at it, I think the average person makes about $64,000 a year, and the average house right now is probably about 260, something like that. And if you go to the bank with those numbers, nah.
Typically, bank's gonna shoot you down if your salary ain't, what is it? The house has to be less than 3 times what you make a year for a bank to typically allow you to get a loan on.
Less than 3 times what you make a year, so 64, and like you have to make $750,000 to be considered for a loan in Savannah. So this is not
opposite way. So
okay.
if it's 250, right, you gotta be making like 90.
Oh, okay. We gonna credit
Like
that.
so you're. Right, so on that token, right, if there's, because I've seen it, there's a $750,000 house somewhere in Savannah, like on the 50th Street, right? $250,000 a year is the minimum you need to make to be able to get
Gotcha. You need to make a third of the house.
Yes.
So most people will not even be able to afford
A starter home here.
And that's what, that'd be about 180. And that's right about the median range.
Right.
So who else is buying houses in Savannah? If it's the people making $60-something thousand a year who are buying houses in Savannah. So that's definitely something that,
and granted, that median is saying one person in the household is making that. That ain't the whole house.
right.
It's like there's some houses where both people working together ain't making 48.
Right.
So like that's a very big distinction in Savannah to make, especially for people who work retail jobs. Now granted, the retail jobs are starting to pick up the wage a little bit, but it ain't keeping up with inflation.
But you know, most jobs, and I'm just gonna go as far as to say I believe most jobs probably pay like 35 on a yearly basis. Like
Actually, that might be a lie.
I was gonna say 30,
even that
25 to 35.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
25 is
saying?
about average. At $11 an hour, you make $22,000 a year.
And you know, that's 15, 16, $17 an hour that you gotta make just to kind of be ready for a starter home.
Right.
Not even a starter home, but like, you know, one of the, and they're nice, but like shotgun houses or something like that. But we will talk about different ways that, you know, that those type of individuals may be able to use what they have or build some assets to be able to purchase a house. Put themselves in a position.
Right. Because there are definitely like down payment assistance programs, like that lessens how much you need to make.
Yes.
So there are some banks, I'm not gonna call none of them out, but they know which ones they are. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Right.
But there's some banks that have some initiatives where they need to help out lower income people to buy houses because they've done some shady stuff.
Yeah, and hey, listen, I'm gonna say this, you know, even with that, like if they issuing it out, let's take advantage of it and do the right thing by it. So if they fall on their face, you know, we'll be able to stand tall in the midst of it.
I like that. That would have to be clipped. Or what they used to say in high school, message.
Oh man, I'm gonna keep some of these laughing parts here. I ain't gonna lie, because we have fun.
I mean, that's the whole point. Like, people ain't gonna watch a
boring show.
Right? We're just sitting here like this, like,
yeah,
Savannah, the sand and tithing. Man, you gotta have some fun, have a little laugh.
So I do want to ask, you know, for anybody who's watching the show, y'all can leave a comment. There's been a lot of name changes for different things in Savannah. One in particular that I don't feel like it's really good or bad, you know. But I remember going to the Savannah Sand Gnats baseball games.
I mean, because we had some sand gnat problems. So, you know, it made sense. You're gonna get eaten up if you out in the summer.
So if y'all remember some Little League football teams, Little League baseball teams, or, you know, just different teams or different events that's changed their names, leave in the comments the old name and the new name of it now, like Savannah Sand Gnats and then Savannah banana. See, I was already tripping up on the banana before I got the nat out.
I just think they just went for the pun, right? Because there are no banana trees in Savannah, so it's like I didn't really get the name and convention with that. But I mean, there's also the Macon Bacons, so there's that.
Macon Bacons?
Yep.
I'll be a banana.
Yeah, so that game and team, I guess, right? Because all those games are sold out, pretty much every game.
Yeah.
I think 75% of their tickets, if I remember like the statistic right, 75% of their tickets are sold before the first game even starts for the year.
So, and I've heard they're very, very entertaining. I have not yet been. I do plan on going if I can catch them. But
because you gotta buy the tickets in the secondary market, and most of the time
it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can get somebody from Savannah Sandats to donate us some tickets so we can go see the Sandats game.
Right, and then we'll talk about it on the podcast.
Right, absolutely.
And I won't make fun of the name ever again, I promise.
No, I will always be Savannah banana before I'm bacon.
There was another one. There's a city in Savannah, I mean in Georgia, but I cannot think of it, and it was also hilarious.
I don't know.
Which I'll never forget. I mean,
what we? I do. I think Montgomery has a little league baseball team. Minor league, not little league. Minor league baseball team, and they're the Biscuits, Montgomery Biscuits, or something like that.
That was not even a pun.
That's just was like, so who was hungry? What is some breakfast? It was some gravy on that thing.
Really? Jeez. Bananas, bacon, and biscuits.
So like we said earlier, Paul, Stephen said earlier, we do open up this podcast for anybody who wants. It's an open invite. You just need to contact leave a comment. We'll get back with you or inbox one of us.
Now, granted, the best ones to visit will probably be like politicians, because it's voting year, so
definitely an election year.
So election years are very important for the people who want us to vote for you. Like, you got to get out here and spread the word with us.
Yeah,
because we need to know. Like, we can't always just vote on they look like me. I want me in there. Yeah. I also need you to represent what I represent.
Absolutely. Now, I will say that in my time in Savannah, we have had some good people that sit on city council, and then that are black and then and white, but we're gonna talk about black ones right now. But then we had some, in my time in Savannah, that have not been favorable to the community. Mm-hmm. They've been favorable to outside of the community of Savannah, mm-hmm. but not the community of Savannah, and let alone the long-term black residents that stay in historical black neighborhoods. So please pay attention when y'all voting this year, of what people are saying that they want to do.
Right, what they're doing now, what they aren't doing now.
Especially they've been sitting in office. Pay attention to the policies they've been putting in place. Mm-hmm. This is the time to let your voice be heard. Like we said earlier, it's enough to complain. It ain't, we got to get out of that complaining mode and start taking action. And just so happened this year, Savannah, it's time to take action.
This is the year to take action. If you don't do nothing else,
this is the year to take action,
right? Because they're gonna make every obstacle they can make for us to not vote. There's a reason for that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say this: if you do have a felon and you are not on probation or parole, you can vote. So let's get out here. I mean,
gotta quote that.
Let's get out here, even myself, let's get out here and vote, and let's let our voices be heard, because Savannah is changing and we can be a part, or we can just stand by and watch it happen.
And also, to go along with that, if you don't know if you can vote, go to the closest public library. They can help you figure out if you can vote or not.
And then there are a lot of nonprofit organizations in this area that are encouraging more black people to vote.
Name drop them because we want them to visit.
So I believe it's Black Vote Savannah. I know the Philip A. Randolph Institute is a big part of it. The others we will continue to drop because I just don't remember. But if you remember some more than that,
Nope,
then
I got no idea. That's why
okay,
I name drop.
cool. So,
and if you know of any in the comments,
man,
if you're
share.
watching this, share them.
Please share.
We want to reach out. We want to share as much information to the community as we can.
Absolutely. This is definitely a community podcast that we're bringing to y'all. So, and if there's topics that y'all want us to touch on, y'all leave them in the comments, and then we'll add them into the podcast schedule.
And if we don't know something, we'll invite somebody who can help us educate you.
We'll definitely invite somebody to come help educate us all. There'll be some things I be wanting to know, and I just
Right, and sometimes I don't know the person to ask. Now I got an excuse.
Right.
Especially when people be like, oh, well, I make music. Oh, well, how do you find inspiration for that? Because I don't ask them to their face, but if y'all ask in the comments, hint.
Right.
I know some people that make music. I can invite them and we can ask them that question.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, if you make music and you listen to the intro song, we could use a verse. It's definitely free advertising if you send us a good verse and we like it.
So that's a challenge out there for the local artists of Savannah. You know what I'm saying? We be getting a lot of good music out of Savannah and a lot of good looks into Savannah. You know what I'm saying? Ever since, Camouflage, rest in peace, up until now, Quando Rondo, and there's a lot of other, popping, vibrant, artists down here, singers, poets, like Savannah is just, and that's why let me go back and say this, man. We got, like I said, going back to, see how the value that we have already, man. We got so much, such creative people in our Black community in Savannah, man. It's ridiculous. We got so many artists. You got the Collage with Zay Hutchinson and the crew out there. You got Spitfire Poetry Group. And you got like Soul Tribe, you got the Gold Members, you got a lot of people out here in Savannah that's doing their thing. And so if you want your name, if you want to shout out, leave us a comment, you know what I'm saying? Drop us a DM.
Right.
Like I said,
we'll send you the beat for you to be able to put.
Definitely. Yeah. This is definitely a community podcast.
Which we'll take singers too if you want to sing something on it. Now, I don't know if that beat is good, but also if you make beats, we could use a couple. It never hurts to have more than one.
Now, I was about to say you were saying singers, you don't know about singers, but I know a young lady by the name of please forgive me if I mess up your name, but her name is Kiara Renee. Yeah, she Savannah Community Land Trust had a barbecue cook-off last year, which they're having again this year, July 29th. And she came out and she sung and she rapped. Wow. She was nice, But like I said, we got a lot of that here. We got a lot of that here in Savannah.
And even music, like we got artists that are here, a lot of like draw, paint,
yes,
photography. It's like, man, there's so much talent in this city. But it's like, we got to build each other up.
Yeah, we got to. You got to. And like, I know a lot of people travel in Savannah, so y'all don't know exactly what I'm about to say. Y'all can understand what I'm about to say. I've been to Atlanta and seen their Black business district and see how they appreciate their Black businesses and take care of their Black artists and stand behind the people that's going to stand behind their Black community when it comes to politics and things like that. I've been in Charlotte, but they do the same thing, got a Black district. Like, I see where that is happening in Savannah, but I'm just letting people know, I'm encouraging people, when we start seeing Black businesses growing in a certain district, let's make sure we keep those places safe.
And keep them open.
Absolutely. Inclusive, because they're, all money green.
Right. Except the coins, but.
Right. Nowadays it's digital.
I know, man. I can't tell you the last time I pulled the bill out of my wallet. I can't throw no stone. I I mean, at this point, it all taps. So go tap in with them black businesses.
Right. Go tap in with the black businesses.
And if they support our community, go tap in with them too.
Absolutely. So, I don't know.
There's something else I wanted to bring up, but now I gotta think about. I was like, we don't need business sponsors yet. We'll wait on until we get a couple more episodes put out there for that. But we will be reaching out for business sponsors. I'm looking at you, banks, because as we're gonna add financial, which I guess that's what it's time for now. It's the financial piece, because I got a little education for the day. But we get banks, like CPAs, bookkeepers. Like, we need everybody to support other entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I mean, hell, if they can support normal people, not bookkeepers, obviously. But
You just cursed.
I was doing.
It's okay.
I was
It's
doing
okay.
so well.
As long as you pass 2 minutes, you are right. I'm just joking.
I was doing so well.
Hell.
I mean, all the other podcasts curse most of the time. So I was doing so well. It's a sailor in me. I can't help it. But
my bad for interrupting. But yeah, y'all, we're gonna have a lot of fun on here. We're gonna give a lot of information out. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Now for the financial moment with me, Paul Stevens, aka Mr. Wonderful, because my nicknames will change every podcast, every episode.
Okay.
Mr. Wonderful is for right now.
Now it's time for financial advice from Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. If we had some transition music, that'd be bomb. But
Right.
I don't need that. So, from my financial piece, it's something I've been going over with all my clients lately. If you have a business, if you're thinking about starting a business, make sure that your business plan is solid. Because there are a lot of businesses that won't work with you unless you provide them with your business plan.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it like this. If I own my business, I stand for something. I've got goals. There's a reason why I'm making money. If I don't know why you're making money, if I don't know the reason behind you making money, then why would I work with you? It doesn't matter if your prices are cheaper than everyone in the competition. I still want to see your business plan. Because at the end of the day, like, I might not think about it like this. Like, if I'm a pro-black person, right, then my whole stance is, well, I want to work with the advancement of black people.
Right.
And another company comes in, they're like, hey, I can save you money. It's like, well, if you ain't helping black people, then I'm not here for it.
Right.
So business plans are 100% a thing, and you can include anything you want in a business plan, from how you're going to make your money, from who you want to make your money from, who's your competition, how does your competition make their money. If you could take over your competition, how would you do it? Why would you do it? When would you do it? Right? A business plan is not just saying, this is my business, this is what I do. It's, this is my business, this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. So now, anyone who comes in, especially when you're hiring somebody, show them your business plan. A lot of people just take a job because it's a job that pays money, but at the end of the day, like, it's gonna get to the point where people are gonna care about, am I in this industry, and is it filling, right, is it fulfilling me wholeheartedly? Like, yes, it can pay a lot of money, but if my heart ain't in it, then I'm not gonna be there for a long time.
Right.
And retention is definitely an issue with small businesses.
That is true. And we're not gonna talk about customer service on this podcast.
Nope.
But we'll get back to that one. We just put that out. We're gonna throw that out there.
So, like, business plans, easy. There are a whole bunch of random free places you can go to get business plans. Hell, I did it again.
He's cursing, y'all.
I'm trying not to. I
Listen.
I know. I mean, it's our thing.
It was just a joke.
Now I'm conscious about it. See, it's like, at least we ain't like being sponsored by somebody to be like, oh, well, you know, you can't do that. I gotta pull you off the air. I mean, you can always put in some bleeps if we have to, if I go for the hard words, because sometimes those slip too.
Hey, listen, and there may be times because, you know, and understanding the passion that we both have for, you know, seeing the community become better. This is gonna be times. We still human.
Right.
A lot of things do. Just because I can talk about it now, that doesn't mean it doesn't anger me to the point to where I actually want to, not see them succeed. I'm not gonna do anything like that, but I will try to build myself up in a team
Right.
to do something similar or better. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Because the only way to like outdo your competition is to build people around you that are better than them.
Right.
Because they say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if all the 5 people you spend time with are great, that'll make you great. Any questions on the business plan portion? Because obviously, if you have any questions, I'll answer them if you have them in the comments. But do you have any questions for business plan?
So it was interesting that you say that in your business plan you just don't need to. And I want to hammer this home because this is something I truly believe in. Especially after watching a documentary on Floyd Mayweather, who was a boxer who turned his boxing into an enterprise.
Right.
So it's interesting to say that a business plan is just not about how you want to show people how you're going to make money alone, but your passion and then your plan for the future. For a new entrepreneur who's writing out a business plan, just fresh start and fresh idea, new, they probably like 22 years old or something like that.
Okay.
How far down the line should they plan, and how far down the line should their business plan cover?
So that's one of those kind of questions where it depends.
Right.
If you're a business that is service-based, so basically like you can go out and do it without any backing from anyone, like more specifically like needing loans from banks and stuff.
Right.
I would say 2-3 years would be the max. Because as you grow as an entrepreneur, like your business plan isn't this like set document, like once you make it, it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like right,
it should grow with your business.
Right. As your business grows, your business plan should be like evolving with you. So it's like anything past 5 years, especially if you don't need a loan, like that's a little overkill. Because like every 6 months, basically, is when I recommend like clients go back and look at their business plan. Like, are you doing the things that you said that you were?
That was my next question.
Right. Are you doing the things that you said you were going to do in your business plan? And if not, is it time to take that out? Or is it time to refine what you're doing to better align with your business plan?
And I think that's part of what trips up a lot of entrepreneurs, is because, I've established my first actual business in 2015. P.A.J. Unlimited was a handyman service. But my goal was to be a general contractor, which I'm still on that journey too. But I did not actually write out a business plan.
Okay.
What I did is I had an idea. I went and got a business license. I went and got my EIN. At that point, I wasn't getting really major jobs, so I didn't get insurance at that time. So I can definitely see how having a business plan would have helped me stay on course. Because actually, there was a lot of like real young in business at that point. Like I didn't even know that to renew your business license, you had to pay it every April, or you can pay it every 3 years. I was really brand new. So, people were encouraging me. They saw my skill set in construction, and it was like, hey man, you can really do this for yourself. And like I said, that journey is still going on. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but we always, and one of my key things to say is we always trending up. So I can definitely see how that business plan would allow me to stay focused on the plans and goals, the things that I wanted. Now, in the midst of that, very shortly after I, say within that first year, close to the end of that first year, I decided to move, and had I would have kept to my business plan, had I would have wrote a good business plan and had somebody to advise me, moving may not have been the best choice at that moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? I probably could have waited another 3, 4, 5 months to get my business established or see my business, let certain business goals become achieved before I started moving around and doing other things.
And then also like, the reason why I tell people like go back to it is like exactly like you said.
Yeah.
You moved. Now, if you had it out and you looked at it and been like, okay, how do I fit moving into my business plan? Because some people would have told you, well, if moving is what's best for you personally, then you need to make it align with your business as well. Because the point of it, like I said, is a grown document. It's not to limit you. It's just to help you see further than what you are experiencing.
Right.
Because you can only live in the day, but you can plan for the future.
And that is just so what is needed, because a lot of people, and even myself, you know, I saw myself getting trapped up in today and not thinking about, you know, the end of the year. And those are some of the things that, you know, I can, with the business plan, I can always go back to, all right, here's the day, I'm having a bad week. I go back to my business plan, look at how far I done came, and say, whew, this bad week ain't so bad. Let me keep going. I done came a long way, and this is the stopping now.
Right, because most people make their business plans the day before they send their business, like, you know, get their EIN, go get their business license, you know, like before they do any of that, business plan gets written out, you started from 0.
I did.
And then the next time you're going to look at it, you've made some amount of money. Man, it feels so much better to be here than I am.
Yeah.
You know, now that I'm here, it feels so much better to be from this far away.
Right.
Because if you don't have that, you don't got nothing to compare that to.
Right. It wasn't no track records. I mean, I did have some receipts, and after a certain point.
We'll talk about the accounting stuff. That'll be in probably the next episode, because accounting is very important for finances.
I just want to kind of saying that because, you know, we do have to be strategic in life. You know what I'm saying? And the business plan is to how you stay on. It's strategic to how you stay on track with your business. So even if things do go wrong, or right, because we can't just focus on the bad part. You still have your business plan to keep you focused and on track, and, you know, can let you know, hey, you way ahead of schedule, and, you know, time for a vacation or something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or
time.
hire a new employee.
That's right. And that's another thing I also tell people include in their business plans. It's like, you know what you're good at. I know what I'm good at. You're good at things I'm not good at. So I need to plan, when am I going to hire someone to do those things that I'm not good at?
Absolutely.
Because the more time that I waste spending on things I'm not good at, is less time that I'm making money doing the things I am good at.
Absolutely. So definitely, man, y'all. If you have a business and don't have a business plan, start working on one.
It ain't wrong to not have one, but it's better to have one.
Right.
Because then also, like, for businesses that do need loans, you will not get a loan without a business plan. Because the bank is also going to say, do you align with what the bank wants? Especially credit unions. Credit unions are owned by the members and not by a person or a business. So now, the credit union is going to say, Navy Federal, for example, well, we're for the bettering of veterans and service members. So does this business align with that? And if the answer is no, Navy Federal is typically going to be like, unless you're already a veteran or service member, and they know who ain't. Like, you may got a Navy Federal account and not be a service member. They know if you are or not. So if you're not a veteran or service member, or, you know, family of such, and you go to get a loan from Navy Federal and you're not doing anything involving bettering veterans, they're probably not going to give you a loan.
Right.
And that's even before we even talk about them looking into your financials, because they will do that eventually. But the whole goal is they're going to look at your business plan and say, okay, this business looks good on paper, it looks good in financials, we don't agree with what they're doing, we're not going to loan them money. It's the same thing with, like, sex workers, to be specific. There are a lot of banks, like OnlyFans did get big. A lot of people making hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. That don't matter if you ain't got no bank.
So I just want to say this and clarify this about OnlyFans. OnlyFans is not just for women who want to be free with their bodies.
I mean, there are men on there too.
I mean, or men can't do that either. You know, I just but OnlyFans is a way to create a community of people that want to hear or from you, and they will pay for the services. There are a lot of platforms like OnlyFans,
Patreon,
Discord, Twitter. I mean,
yeah, Twitter does have a subscription service now.
Yeah, so I just because OnlyFans does have that bad reputation of it's where girls.
I mean, Twitter does a lot more than that.
Of course, but nobody knows Twitter from like that unless you be on Twitter like that. Oops. But
stay off Twitter. Kids.
Yes, stay out. I mean, yeah. But OnlyFans is not just for I guess I want to say sexual work or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of business people who have OnlyFans too. So don't be ashamed or shy or think a person is doing anything just because they have an OnlyFans page.
I mean, even if they do sex work, I don't care.
I mean,
money spends.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, but yeah.
I don't care how you get it, as long as you don't tell me if it's illegal.
It's your money, that's your responsibility.
Right? I don't judge. There's only one person that can do that.
Mm-hmm. And that's God.
Okay.
So in instances with Navy Federal
Yep.
or USAA, where it's a family member, based for, would it be for somebody to put in their business plan to, just as a tip or a point, and this might be a little bit too much, but I'm gonna ask, doing like in your business plan saying that you will give veterans a 10%, 15, 20% discount and or donate a certain amount of proceeds to veteran organizations.
So that's a kind of like one of those steep hill things.
Right.
Because
it might have been a little bit too much.
So it's not too much, right? The thing is, a business plan is not a legal document technically, because
so you can say that,
the only person that can hold you to a business plan is the business owner. So if the business owner is not, they can put that they're going to give military discounts, and so it's like, yeah, you get the loan based on that, but that's an integrity thing.
Gotcha.
So you can do that. In fact, I have in my business plan where I will once a quarter give away a free financial plan to someone who's a veteran or that's homeless. And so that's just my way of giving back, because like I could have been homeless after the military,
right,
and I am a veteran, disabled veteran.
Right.
So, like, some people just need just a little push to get, past the starting line, because it ain't when you start, it's how you start.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. No, I ain't giving up no more free. It's all free, y'all. It's all free.
It's free unless you want to pay.
Right. Now,
So maybe OnlyFans will give this.
Yeah, we can get us OnlyFans page and see what we got going on. You know what I mean?
Just no feet pics.
No, you don't want to see my feet.
Man, I get one pedicure every 3 weeks.
Don't
You
want to see my feet.
gotta take care of your feet. That's how you stay from getting diabetes.
So I've been considering it, and I will. I'm not saying I won't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't want to see my feet. I'm telling you, it's
the worst thing the Vietnamese people can say is you have ox foot.
Oxford.
That's about it.
Oh no, I ain't got all that.
Yeah, so it'd be good.
I ain't got it ain't that bad.
As long as it look like knuckles. When you
I ain't like they scratch out enough. Just a little few things. But just being a guy, that has, been working hard and stuff like that. I've just never really taken opportunity to really take care of myself back in the past. Pushing, a little over, getting over 40. So, a few things that I want to do now to take better care of my body, because I want to be here for a while. And I want to enjoy my body while I'm here.
Right. And you got a kid, so
Yeah,
you got to be
yeah.
there for your kid.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
adult kid, but kid
Yeah,
nonetheless.
shoot. I'm trying to get him to buy me groceries every month. So parents, listen. Y'all please continue to tap in, especially for the financial information, because sooner or later your kids are going to be grown, and you want them to buy you groceries and send you on trips.
That's right. I ain't got no kids yet, but when I do, y'all gotta rewatch it.
Kids, it is your responsibility to gain this financial knowledge.
Right, so you can take care of your parents.
Yes.
Because senior living is not affordable.
It is not. And I say it jokingly, we say it jokingly, but it's not just not only is it not affordable, but we know that there has been a lot of elderly abuse in those homes. So you don't want to have your parents or grandparents in a position where that can be a situation. You rather be able to take care of them in a place where you can monitor it a lot better.
Right. Now I'm not gonna advertise for them, but it's like the Oaks, probably a great place. They're just a little out of my budget for when my mama gets up that age. So she gonna stay in the attic. I'm just kidding. If you're watching this episode, do not call me. I was just playing.
You sure you don't want me to edit that?
No, because she'll call me and laugh. It can stay right in there. I'll just send it with my sister if she don't agree with staying where I wanted to stay.
I'll make sure I send you a special clip for that one.
That's going right on, clipping that, put it right on my Instagram.
Right. What we do in our podcast, Paul talks about putting his mom in that. But man, it's been great, man. Definitely continue to look forward to building with your brother.
Of course,
You know
this is
what I'm
fun.
saying? Absolutely. So this is Paul Thompson,
And Paul Stevens.
and this is
Two
2Pauls.
Two T's in a pod. I'm just
Two-
kidding. 2Pauls.
2Pauls on the pod. We can get it together, y'all.
We had the first time was great, but that was a fluke.
But definitely, like, y'all, subscribe. We will continue to bring this to y'all.
Yep, and then once we get it on all of the podcast listening services, make sure you hit that 5 stars.
Definitely,
Make sure you
definitely,
comment there too.
Please.
And then we look
Well,
forward
not please, do
Yeah.
it. But
This ain't no call to action, I'm telling you.
yes, exactly. This is what we've been missing. This is what we've been needed.
Right.
Um,
Because there's there's financial and area podcast for Black people in Dallas, Fort Worth, New York with the Earn Your Leisure podcast.
Right.
But shout out to them because they put out great information.
They do.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been watching them for years.
Mhm.
Them,
Black Wealth Renaissance. That's out in
them,
Dallas, Fort Worth.
Him
Great
500.
information.
I
Mhm.
watch some, a lot. I know people have an issue with Derek Prince. I believe that's his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Oh,
That's one of those ones I gotta
hopefully
look
I'm
up.
not. He has a lot of tattoos and locks, and he buys gold, but straight gold. He don't buy gold and diamonds because he knows that gold has value, and if you put diamonds in it, that it takes
value.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of information I take from a lot of the younger brothers that are doing and teaching people, doing great things by teaching, our people how to become better with their finances. So, all invites, anybody wants to jump on with us, send the invites to the inbox, in the group, in the chat, in the comments, wherever.
And then also, since this is the first episode, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, so my name is Paul, Paul, Thompson with a P, THOMPSON, on Facebook, and on Instagram is Trending Up, TREDNUP, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And then you can find me on Twitter as Mr. Anonymous. We'll talk about that the next time I do a nickname change.
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook, you can find me at Paul_the_advisor. That's my business page for Facebook, and then that's my personal for Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, but ain't nobody gonna follow me on LinkedIn.
Right. So, 2Pauls in the pod. on the pod. We'll be on YouTube soon. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. All links will be in the description or somewhere around
Somewhere in this area.
All right, y'all. Peace. We out.